welcome to our next episode of One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer. Hey! Oh, those of you who are watching us on the YouTube channel, you better subscribe to our channel unless I have to sick our goons on you.
Oh, you don't want that. You don't want the
Yeah.
goons.
Yeah. JJ, you have been paying the goons, haven't you?
They haven't come around. I've been parking the car in the back, put the lights off. They haven't come around lately.
Okay. All right. Um, those of you who are on Facebook, please follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, follow whatever. I don't know. I don't know the lexicon, man.
Yeah.
I'm email is still new to me, man. Speaking of email, if you want to get a
Oh,
hold of us, you get a hold of us in various different ways. You can send us a direct message, you can send us a comment on one of our platforms, or you can use the old-fashioned email, one card, one cup, one beer at gmail.com. For those of you who would like to support our efforts so JJ can continue to pay our goons, you
yes.
can
We
do
need
that
to.
on Patreon. Go to patreon.com. Just put in the search bar, one cardinal, one cup, and one beer, and you can figure out how to support us. And JJ, how are you doing?
Fantastic. I got so much. We got a ton to talk about tonight and so little time. So let's get down to it. Vince, my mom, she still works a couple jobs. My mom's incredible. My mom is 78 years old. All right. She's wonderful. She ran into some old friends and they were catching up and they asked, and he, every time she went by the
Oh,
woman's room,
look,
what's that?
at that age, all of her friends are old friends. Keep going.
Well, they hung out in the 70s and she hadn't seen her a lot since the 70s. And there,
Okay.
and her daughter were there. And every time she passed the room, she was watching baseball. So they got talking about me and she says, uh, JJ's is on a baseball podcast. What's it called? And mom, this is her moment to shine. She said, I think it's one Bush, one Cardinal, and one something another. And I was like, Mom, what the heck? What is it? Think I'm doing porn podcast? What the heck, Mom? And so she said her straight. I said her straight. She said her straight. But at the VA, a lot of veterans come by and they talk baseball with me. I saw one guy come down today and the door was kind of cracked and he pointed in there and he goes, "Hey, I'm going to opening day." And I said, "Oh, all right, man. All right. Bring home a win." And then another lady asked me about the podcast and she said, "I'm going to check that out. Somebody told me you got a podcast." I said, "Yeah." So we're building little by little one brick at a time, Vince. We're building. We'll be up there. Vince Rogan. We'll be calling you Vince Rogan here sooner or later.
Okay.
I'll be your Bobby Lee. You're
You'll
Vince
be
Rogan.
Hulk Rogan.
Yeah. And Vince, we talk about other things, except for, I mean, we talk baseball, but we talk all kinds of different things on here. And one thing, I don't know, did you hear the nominees for the Music Hall of Fame this year? There's 20 nominees and 10 will
You
get
know,
in.
I've been so busy. I
May I read them off to you? Because
certainly,
Vince,
I'm very
you think
interested.
Vince knows baseball? He's equally passionate and knows his music too. So we talk music a lot too. Okay, there's a lot of first timers on here, and I'm not going to belittle anybody who's made a career out of music or anything like that. And I think rock and roll, but there's country aspects of rock and roll. There's soul and rhythm and blues and maybe even rap. So there's so many different genres that I think overall the canopy of rock and roll. So the newcomers are Phil Collins solo. And Phil Collins, except for maybe Michael Jackson in the 80s, was the second biggest act going in the 80s. Melissa Etheridge.
Oh,
I saw
love
her twice. I saw her twice in concert, put on a heck of a show. Her first three albums. Her first album's phenomenal. And then the second one's really good, and the third one has got a couple of really good songs on it too. So Melissa Etheridge, Lauryn Hill solo, Lauryn Hill, In Excess. I can't believe they've never been up.
Oh man, and I love In Excess.
I do
Um,
too. I do
I
too.
I was so sad when Michael Hutchins died, and I was
Yeah.
so embarrassed about the way he died. But
Yes.
like,
Well, we all have our skeletons in the closet or
and
something.
that song that they put out from their last album right before he died, "Elegantly Wasted,"
Oh, that's
is one of my all-time favorite
oh,
songs. And I'll bring that up to people. I've never heard that.
I have heard that. I was a big fan. They had one album, Listen Like Thieves, I really liked, but there was an album after that that had the whole thing had a really good songs on the whole
Kick,
thing. Oh, do what now?
was it Kick?
It was Kick.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But my favorite is What You Need. That was the first song I ever really noticed them, and man, that kicked butt. Other new edition, which is a boy band practically, I mean, guys, and they're dancing and singing, and there's always been that aspect to music. Uh, Pink, Sade, Shakira, Luther Vandross, and Wu Tang Clan are the first time nominees. And I think you
Okay.
got to have a record out for 25 years before you can even get,
Yeah.
be nominated. The ones coming back though, the Black Crows, who I think are worthy, Mariah Carey, incredible talent, but I wouldn't call it rock and roll. Billy Idol, who doesn't love some Billy Idol?
Oh, my wife is a huge Billy Idol fan.
Oh yeah. Oh man, you can't go wrong. Iron Maiden, which I'm glad they got some heavy metal in there. Okay, you talked about this group last year, and to be honest, I listened to a couple songs. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I've heard so many people say they're one of the most influential bands ever. Joy Division / New Order. Now that's two different bands, isn't it? They seem to they're counting them like one act, though.
Um, New Order was after the lead singer uh, died. It's
Oh,
basically
okay.
the same group, though.
Okay. All right. Oasis and Vince, I know they're not everybody's cup of tea, but to me, they're the last big rock band. Oasis. I love Oasis, and they're back touring. Uh, and that's it. That and Sade. I don't know if I mentioned her.
Yeah,
So
you did.
that's the 20 nominees. And any thoughts? Any surprises in there?
I think Phil Collins will make it, even though I'm not a huge Phil Collins fan. His solo work is definitely way up there, and I think with what he did in the '80s, um, not just with his music, but helping other artists. I love the Easy Lover with Philip Bailey,
Yes.
and that was almost we got to put something else on this record, and so they put that on there. And Phil Collins, who was just producing the record, wasn't singing on it. He was talked into doing a duet. Just a great song. So I think he'll make it. Um, I think we're probably going to see Iron Maiden go in.
That's fair. A
Uh,
lot of fans. They have a lot of fans. Long
yeah,
history.
and culturally in the metal world, they have a lot of influence with their artwork.
Yeah.
So I don't see how you well then again keep so many people out, but they do. And I am still miffed that Three Dog Night is not going to get their chance.
I
So
agree. Boston. Vince, Boston's first album is, I think, a landmark album. Their second one was really good. And then they came out years later with that third one that had Amanda on it. I think that album went #1 too. So I can't see why they can't fit Boston in there. Uh,
and a
Phil
lot of
Collins.
those
Oh, go
corporate
ahead.
rock bands, I don't think Foreigner's in either. Um, I a lot of those which you would classify as corporate rock, there's a lot of backlash against that, and I don't know why. It was just kind of a evolution of rock music. It goes through different phases. So, like the music we listened to in high school that was more new wavy pop kind of stuff. Um, I mean, it's it sounds cheesy today, but that was what we really enjoyed, what we listened to, and I thought that we've included some of those bands in there and some of those artists in
Yeah.
there, and then rock music. It's different now because there's not a top 40. It's all niche because music is just distributed in a different way. It's not physical stuff. It's streaming. So it's very it's very difficult for people in today's world to look back and see that some of the music that is considered bad music or whatever, that was just an evolution of the music. And I think Boston was certainly worthy of not just nomination but going in. It's kind of like this in baseball. It's not a player's fault what era they're born to play in. So if you're born to play in the 70s when ballparks got bigger and guys led the league with 32 home runs, then, it's hard to compare that to today when the ballparks are smaller, human beings are bigger, and the ball goes farther because it's pitched harder and the fences have been brought in. It's just hard to compare eras, and I kind of see that with rock music too. It's kind of hard to compare eras. That's why I like some of the gospel and early country artists that have went in because it was kind of all started from that same uh, blues
Well,
and um, just kind of went from there and just split off in different branches. So I don't have a problem with rappers getting in. I know a lot of people, that's not rock and roll. You know what rock and roll was initially? It was it was all African American music until Elvis hijacked it. I mean, he didn't do anything new. He just took the music he was hearing in Memphis and
and in church.
yeah, so yeah, I don't have a problem with any of that. Um,
No, me neither. Like Fats Domino and Chuck Berry and Little Richard. Man, Little Richard's so he's like an evangelist. He's on that piano and just giving it everything he's got. I absolutely love that. But I did leave out one artist, a number first time nominee, Jeff Buckley. I'm so sorry I didn't say Jeff Buckley, and I don't know a whole lot about him. I was thinking Jeff, the blind man that played the guitar, Jeff Healy. I think I was thinking
yeah,
of.
Jeff
I
Healy.
don't I don't know Jeff Buckley. I don't. I have to go back and research him. I don't.
Yeah, I've heard the name, but
Yeah, me too.
you
Me
know,
too. Phil Collins, I hope he gets in because his health is failing. And it'd be so nice that me and you've talked about Baseball Hall of Fame. If you're going to put them in while they're alive, let them enjoy it. And Phil's got some iconic drum riffs. I remember him playing something about rain with Eric Clapton, and Clapton's on the lead guitar and he's singing, and then he did the Frida from ABBA. She had an album, and he produced her big hit off that album. So I Phil's done more than just, and he's been, of course, in Genesis too. But I really hope he gets in, and I hope Melissa Etheridge gets in. I'd like to see. She's just, man, she had a great band, but she wrote her own songs and she put so much of herself into the lyrics and the singing. I'm a big Melissa Etheridge fan and haven't heard a lot from her lately, but there was a good 5 years, and her music, if you hear it today, it still holds up. A lot of these people, Billy Idol, there's not every Billy Idol song has held up all these years later, but he's got a lot of stuff that still is on the radio. And I think that's it. 25 years, you look back, and do they still hold up? Because, you talk about Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship, and Starship. They had some clunkers in there, but they had some great songs too that I still love to this day. So anyway, I just let you know, Vince. I love looking at that. I love the induction ceremonies for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's pretty darn cool.
I like Billy Idol's. Um, every time I hear "Eyes Without a Face" come on the radio, man, that was really innovative and good.
Yeah.
That was really
Oh yeah.
awesome. But
Rebel Yell for me. That's my
no,
Billy Idol go to right
uh,
there.
uh, my favorite has got to be "A Lover" with that
Oh
gospel
yeah.
choir in the back singing about sex.
That's rock and roll, Jack.
That's right. Oh, I do want to let you know. I didn't say this a few weeks ago. All the windows that we got ourselves are
Yeah.
in. We got a new back door in. And this week, they've started we've got three of our windows in. They're not completely um, trimmed in, but we got three of the four windows that the insurance company has to pay for. Three of those are in. and they'll put in the other one tomorrow, probably Thursday. And then we've got the siding in the yard, so we'll get the siding repaired, and then the gutters repaired, and also they're raising our power line, and so we have to pay a little more, but we're getting a new breaker box put in.
All
So
right, man, that sounds
um,
great.
yeah, it's almost been a year since that storm hit our house, and we are finally getting finished. I mean, we did get the roof within the first 3 months,
Okay.
but then it's been a lot of sit down and wait. So we got that going on. And I want to tell you something, JJ. You and like-minded people have inspired me because I never really had much of a, I don't want to do that until now because I've had you, I've had Rebecca's boyfriend Brendan. I've had other friends who've told me over the past few years, you need to go to spring training. You got to go to spring training sometime. So, uh, dadgummit, I can't go. I'm not going to schedule a trip in 2027 in case there's a work stoppage.
I
But I
see.
did text Max. I said, "Would you be open to going to spring training in 2028?" He said, "I'm in." So we're going to start putting together the plans to go to Arizona, of course, to see the Cubs, to go to spring training in 2028, spend a week. I don't know how long there, but I'm pretty pumped about that. So
Oh,
this year, Kathy and I were going back out east, back to Maine, but
oh, that's
she
cool.
on the way there, we're going to stop at the Baseball Hall of Fames because she's never been there. We're thinking about maybe going to a Phillies game while we're out in
Hey.
that area. Um, I would like to go to Fenway, um, but I'm boy, that's I don't I went to Boston once and I did not enjoy it. So I don't know if it's something I want to do or not. But I would like to go to Fenway Park. It's just getting to Fenway, finding out how to park, figuring out
Oh,
all the nuances. I don't know if I want to do that. So
I'd Uber. I've become a big Uber fan because I drove around Washington D.C. one time and I couldn't find parking, and people were honking. I felt like a Hoosier. Well, I am a Hoosier, but I felt like a Hoosier in the big city. And they're like, "Come on, Clampets, get out of the way!" And one-way streets, and I'm doing the big round circle thing, and there was nowhere to park. It was like only reserved for Congress people that work in Congress. Or I drive to this one. No, this is reserved for these people. You got to be kidding me. And finally, I seen parking way up there, and I got in there, and they came out with mirrors and looked underneath the car and everything. I mean, it was a eye-opening experience. So the next day, we took the train in and ended up near Ford's Theater. Just spent the whole day around that Ford's Theater area, which DC's got a lot of stuff to see. But Vince, I'm so happy for you. Fenway Park will be great, but when you go down to spring training, you can do one or two things. I found out you can plan like, oh, today we'll go see the A's, and tomorrow we'll go see the Mariners. It's so cool. You could do that, or you can just follow the Cubs around wherever they go. And everything in Arizona is so much closer than Florida. Florida,
yeah.
you got stuff at Orlando, and you got Jupiter, and you got the golf with where the Pirates are and the Blue Jays. So yeah, I'm happy for you, man. Take plenty of pictures. I want to see that.
Okay. It's 2 years away, but yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead
hey,
and start
it'll be
planning
here
that.
before you know it.
Yeah. I also want to say those of you who are on Facebook that have liked us on Facebook and are on our Facebook page, I started posting once a week players. I don't want Hall of Fame players, and I don't want players that are too obscure like BB Richards. But I want to recognize good players and kind of put their accomplishments and kind of make it in a format that's fun. So I've got it in the Ripley's Believe It or Not format. Last week I did Greg Luzinski, and this week I've done John Candelaria. So if you're not one of our Facebook people, go to Facebook, like the page, and check out some of the stuff we're posting. I'm trying to get more active on Facebook because sometimes I'd go a few months and, oh, yeah, we're on Facebook. So I'm trying to get more active on it. And if anybody has any suggestions, any players that are really good but not Hall of Fame, players who may have been forgotten a little bit, um, that had their moments in the sun, let me know and I'll put something together and put them on the Facebook page. Yeah, I'm a huge Greg Luzinski fan. especially when, I watched the White Sox in the late 70s, early 80s when he went over there. Um, just always liked him. And um, being I'm going to talk about John Candelaria a little bit. I thought, Candyman up there a bit. So
Yeah.
there we go.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. That's what being a fan's all about. Talking about your fandom and your players you love and everything. I think that's great, Vince.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, let me get to a few transactions. There's a ton of transactions, but most of them are players we don't know. Uh, the so and so's have assigned so and so.
Right.
I don't know who these people are. But there were a few names of note. The Yankees have signed Randall Grichuk to a minor league contract. I kind of liked Randall Grichuk as
Me
one of
too.
our possibilities for a fourth outfielder. I think I said that a few
I
months
remember
ago.
you talking about that.
But he was still sitting at home, and the Yankees have signed him, so he's got a shot to make the Yankees or impress someone else. The Giants have signed left-handed pitcher Brent Honeywell to a minor league contract. He's pitched mostly out of the pen, and he's kind of been up and down. But anytime you can sign a left-hander, you try to see if you can
Oh yeah.
hone those skills. Of course, the two big deals are well, it's not a huge deal anymore, but this guy used to be an all-star. The Royals have signed left fielder Starling Marte to a one-year deal, and I didn't see where that was a minor league deal, so I'm sure it's a major league deal. So he's probably going to be the fourth outfielder in Kansas City. Good for Starling Marte.
Yeah.
Really good player when he was in his Pittsburgh years. And the big one is that the Toronto Blue Jays have signed Max Scherzer to
Yes.
come back for a one-year deal. And I think he probably feels like there's some unfinished business in Toronto, and he wants to help finish that off. So congratulations to Starling Marte and Max Scherzer for signing one-year deals. That's really it for the transactions that I have. You have any transactions, JJ?
No, not really. I mean, later in Cardinal news, I was going to talk about it, but the
Yeah.
Cardinals had 67 in camp, which is that's a lot of folks, but it's nice. Sometimes that's the only time these guys will ever get to be seen in the big leagues. It's tough to get up there, but I think they set 16 down, dispersed them amongst the minor leagues and everything. So we're down to about 51 now. And each week it will get down to that 26 and be ready for opening day. So that's basically it for the Cardinals. And like you said, not a lot of names I really knew.
Yeah. Did have one obituary. Rain. Wayne Granger, who pitched from
Oh,
67 to 76. He has passed away at the age of 81. And in his 9 years, excuse me, yeah, 9 years. I got 10 years 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76. 9 years.
9 years. All right.
Glad I've got 10 fingers. So,
We were in
anyway,
trouble if it was 11.
yeah. Um, he pitched for the Reds, the Cardinals, the Yankees, the Twins, the White Sox, the Astros, and the Expos. His wife was sick of moving, I imagine. But anyway, he came up in 68 with the Cardinals team that won the pennant in the National League, and he actually saved 4 games for that 68 Cardinal teams. He had his best years in Cincinnati, where he saved one year 35, another year he saved 27, another year he saved 19. Pretty good player, and I remember having his baseball card from his last year with the Expos. Um, because I've always Wayne Granger, that's kind of a
Yeah.
melodic name. So, but anyway, he passed away at the age of 81. So, um, have you heard about the spring breakout they're going to do in 2027?
Uh, well, I they did it last year, wasn't it? Where your top minor leaguers play another team's top minor leaguers. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but they're going to kind of put it in a tournament this year or
Oh,
next year.
I did not know that. Oh, that's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Not to be confused with spring break, where
Yeah.
people get drunk and topless. This is spring breakout where they're going to
Okay.
play baseball drunk and topless.
Oh man.
Hey,
So
they're 20-year-old kids. That's what they
yeah.
do. But anyway, I think that's pretty cool. Get the top minor league teams players from each organization and play a tournament.
I I would
I'd
love
also be
that.
watching that, so that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Um, Nolan McLean, his World WBC arrival is being delayed. The Mets said he's got kind of like a vertigo type symptoms. So I did see today that he was scheduled to pitch their fourth game in the pool round, start that game. So um, they don't think it's serious. Maybe it's an inner ear infection or something, but that's kind of scary. You know, get dizzy.
Yeah.
I've been dizzy before. The World Baseball Classic power rankings are out. I'm not going to go through all 20 teams, but the top four: Japan, number one; USA, number two; Dominican Republic, number three; and number four is Venezuela.
Oh,
So,
very good. Some great players.
some bad news. Jerickson Profar is facing a 162 game suspension for uh, PED testing positive. Last year, he missed the first 80 games because of, well, he played the first four games, then he's out for 80 games. Then he came back, and now he's tested positive again. He was on the Netherlands roster for the WBC, so they have taken him off of that.
Mm,
Um, and another WBC player has been removed, and he will be serving an 80-game suspension for PED. That's center fielder Johan Rojas from the Phillies. So um, keep
man.
doping, guys. Keep doping.
Yeah. They're gonna catch you.
Yeah. Um, this is I haven't brought this up, but I have been keeping up with this situation because he used to pitch for the Cubs. Former major league pitcher Daniel Serafini, uh, he has been on trial because he murdered his father-in-law, was accused of murdering his father-in-law, and he attempted to murder his mother-in-law, but she lived through it. Um, he has been sentenced to life in prison without parole for these murders that happened in 2021. Um, he is, of course, maintaining his innocence during sentencing because it's like Shawshank Redemption. I didn't do it. Um, but he pitched for several teams from 96 through 2007, one of those being the Cubs. Um, and from what I have read and listened to on this case, he's kind of a piece of garbage. So, JJ, bring us up. Bring me some good news,
All
please.
right, I got some good news. I was going to talk about the World Baseball Classic too, Vince. Even though the season we made it to March, we're in March 3rd. We're taping here on Tuesday night, but the season's not that far away. And today is the Cardinals' last day off until and then we have opening day, and then a day off afterwards. So the World Baseball Classic starts up. You mentioned that a while ago, and Thursday, March 5th, it starts and it runs through March 17th. And I've heard some things, and one was that Scooble is going to start one game, and a lot of fans were like, "Game," but there's only 7 games. If you go all the way to the end, there's only 7 games. I didn't realize that. So you got Scooble. They're only if they do make it to 7 games, you got Scooble pitching one game, you got Skeen pitching two, and Webb pitching two. That's 5. My gosh, that don't even sound fair. And USA plays March 6th through the 10th in Houston. And in our bracket is Brazil, Great Britain, Mexico, and Italy. And Scooble's pitching against Great Britain. And I mentioned that because he's only going to pitch one game. Clayton Kershaw has been down there getting ready. As he got older, his velocity went down, but he can still throw strikes. And they did interviews yesterday, and I heard Kershaw talking that he said, "You can use me every game. Use me when you need me. I have nothing to hold. I feel good. My arm feels good. I'm not playing it next year. Throw me every game if you need me. And they did a Pat McAfee has a uh, podcast TV show, and they did some things for charity where they Kershaw was going to pitch against McAfee for a half an inning, and McAfee was going to pitch against Kershaw for a half an inning for charity. Like a home run was like 25,000. If McAfee could hit a home run off of Kershaw, it was $25,000 he would raise. I haven't heard the outcome yet, but I can't. I'm excited to find out. I'm gonna try to look that up to see what happened because McAfee's never played baseball before, and you know, as a fan, you watch the game and you say, "Oh, I could hit that. Why did he swing at that ball?" And then when you get in there and that ball's moving about 98 miles an hour, you're like, get me out of here. I don't want to face that stuff. And so anyway, yeah, it's an illusion that like, oh, we all could do that. No, I'm that fast. No, I'm not even faster than Yachty. And Yachty was about as slowest thing there was in baseball. So I'm very excited about the World Baseball Classic. And Vince, today the United States had a practice game against San Francisco Giants. All the teams that are in it had exhibition game, and some of the games today, Team Canada played Toronto. That's pretty cool. I'd love if I, that's a great. I bet they packed that place. The Cubs, Cuba. I'm sorry, I said Cubs. Cuba plays Kansas City. USA plays the Giants. Great Britain is playing Milwaukee. Mexico is playing Arizona. Israel's playing Miami, and Team Italy is playing the Cubbies. Your Cubbies. I'd watch that. Matter of fact, I watch a Cub game this weekend. But today against San Francisco, listen to this lineup, Vince. How would you attack this lineup? Leading off, Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop. Leading off. Batting second, first baseman Bryce Harper. Batting third, you only got the MVP, Aaron Judge, playing right field, not center. He's playing right. The DH, Kyle Schwarber. Right there. How are you going to get through that? Batting fifth, Alex Bergman. Hey, Cubby Alex Bergman. Sixth, only the 60 home run guy, Kyle Riley, the catcher. Playing left field, Roman Anthony from the Red Sox. In center field, you got Byron Buxton, batting eighth, and batting ninth, second baseman Bryce Terrain. And you still have PCA, and there's another stud on the bench. They're just so loaded. And Skeens is pitching tonight against the Giants. So I'm very excited. This is going to be so much fun. And I know Wednesday, the USA will play Colorado. Thursday, the games begin. And then all the games for the WBC, you can see on TV, all the United States games. Friday,
if you go to our Facebook page, I've posted the schedule and every station you can find every game.
Vince, thank you.
Mostly, a lot of them are on FS1 and FS2, which I don't have. But the United States basically plays on Fox, which is network television, so I'm going to be able to catch them. And then there's going to be some games on Tubi. So Tubi is a free streaming system. So if you're like me and don't have FS1 or FS2 on your Sling or whatever you have, that's okay. You can still watch United States on Fox, and you can still catch a few games on Tubi.
Oh, you going to watch the games, Vince?
Yeah, I watched the game today when they played the Giants.
How'd that go? I haven't heard the results or anything.
I turned it off after the eighth inning, or after the eighth inning. It was like, I don't know, 12-1. United States was winning. Bregman homered. Roman Anthony homered.
He's a good young player.
PCA went 1 for 3, had an RBI double. I think Boyd pitched, I think, 2 shutout innings. Yeah, and they had players to fill out the roster that didn't even have names on their jerseys because they were minor leaguers that played towards the end of the game. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Gunnar Henderson is probably the other one that wasn't starting that you were thinking of. But yeah, they looked really good, but it's just one game.
Can you imagine going to that locker room? Just oh my gosh, there's Judge and there's Riley and there's Bergman. I mean, Skeens and Scooba. I would just, oh man, that would be a phenomenal locker room.
The coolest thing that happened was David Bednar pitched the top of an inning, and in the bottom, his little brother, who's quite a few years younger than him, he's a prospect for the Giants. He pitched the bottom of that inning. He got hit around a little bit, but they were saying, Bednar never gets an opportunity to watch his little brother pitch because he's always busy. So he kind of
That
cool
is
to
cool. That's
watch him
wonderful.
watch your little brother pitch in person. So
Oh man, outstanding. WBC, that's going to get us pretty much after the 17th. We're just about 10 days away from opening day. So I'm excited, Vince.
I'm very excited. Not exciting, excited.
Yes, sir. Anything. Well, I also was going to talk about injuries. Vince, it seems like every week we get on here, we talk about a great player, and like we always bring up somebody, oh, if they just didn't have injuries. And I found a stat that told me how many the team, first of all, team wise, was the most injured. And for the third straight year, who would you think, what team player spent the most time on the IR? What would you, I got the top five right here. Would
The
you care to,
Braves.
they were not in the top five. They had a lot of injuries. And
Really?
I think this includes their minor league system. Like
Okay.
they're out of their whole team. So that it, I would say on the pro team, yeah, the Braves got hurt a lot.
Hmm. Who do we got?
All right. Number five, the Red Sox. They had
Yeah.
39 placements on the IR last year. The Baltimore Orioles, a lot of injuries too.
Yeah.
Um, they spent last year in their whole system 2,123 days was Baltimore players on the injured reserve. Number three, the New York Mets. Number two, the Astros, and they had 38 players placement. And for the third year in a row, the Los Angeles Dodgers, their pitching staff, they've got 10 starters, but I tell you, half their starters were hurt at one time or another the whole year. They were putting different guys up and letting them start, but that's how deep they are. They got so much starting pitching. But yeah, the most time on the injured reserve. The five healthiest teams, the Cubbies was number
Yeah,
five.
very healthy.
Yeah, very healthy. The Twins, number four. Um, San Francisco Giants, number three. Number two, the St. Louis Cardinals, and number one, the Philadelphia Phillies. I can only speak for the Cardinals. They only had six starters last year. We had enough. We got lucky with our health, and Vince, that might not have been a good thing. Maybe a couple of our guys could have spent a little IR time, and we could see some of the minor leaguers. But for what it was worth, they were healthy. Now I was looking up stuff. I was trying to find a stat to show what player was injured the most, that spent the most time on the DL and the IR. Now, to be on it the most, you have to have a long career. And I could not believe the person that spent the most time on the DL slash IR was none other than Ken Griffey Jr. If you add up all his days late in his career, early, he had good health. But it
Yeah.
seemed like about the time he went to Cincinnati, and then he went later with the White Sox and went back to Seattle. He spent, if you put them all together, it was close to 5 years on the IR. Now, with that being said, he still hit 630 home runs, Vince. If
Yeah.
he just became an average player at that point, and he still had 10 gold gloves, 13 all-star games, but he had injuries such as hamstring, ankle and tendon, dislocated shoulder, and torn knee. Bless his heart, that guy, I think, would have shattered Ruth's, well, it would have been Aaron's record at the time. And but you can't find a better ambassador. You never hear him complaining about that, but close to 5 years. Then there was a pitcher, I believe he played for the Cubs at one time. Angel Guzman. Was he a Cub at one time? A
We had
pitcher?
Jose Guzman at one time.
Maybe that's who it was. Well, there's an Angel Guzman I seen, and 3 years in a row, he spent 121 days on the IR. In 08, 155, and in 2010, or in 2007, 121 days, 2008, 155 days, and 2010, 162 days on the DL. And Also, Garcia. I remember Garcia as a young player, dynamic. I mean, you thought, oh, he's headed to Cooperstown, and the injuries. He just had stints in the DL with the Achilles tendon issues, and he played 14 years. And Eric Chavez spent 410 days on the DL. Outstanding third baseman, but he just dealt. And we always think of Chris Bryant, bless his heart. What a player early in his career, but injuries have just stacked up. So you do your best, you train. All these guys that trained hard were phenomenal players, and then the injuries just kind of stacked up. So I thought I'd bring that to a lot of people's attention. When you think of injuries, think of Ken Griffey Jr. If he hadn't got hurt, or even half of that, oh my Lord, he'd have all. He's in the Hall of Fame anyway, but he'd be. I don't know if he could be any better than he's known remembered for, but my
Yeah, I
gosh.
think of a player today that's Mike Trout's in that boat.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
how many days he spent on the IR, but it's been a lot. Um, and he's already accumulated enough WAR. He could retire, and he's still going to make uh, the Hall of Fame. I watched a clip from an old game this week in Anaheim, and that's when they had Otani and Trout both on the team. There was no one in the ballpark.
Oh, you see some of those 70s years, the 1970s. And Vince, I saw a Giants game and it looked like maybe 8,000 people were at the ball game, you know? So baseball's in a good spot, it's a real good spot right now. They got good crowds and a lot of attendance and the for the World Series, the ratings were fantastic. So we're in a good spot right now.
Oh, speaking of Mike Trout, I have a friend who I met during the pandemic. We would do online comedy shows together, and huge baseball fan. He's from the West Coast. I think he may be from Seattle, but he's a huge San Francisco Giants fan.
Ah,
So a few years ago, he popped through St. Louis. He was visiting all the stadiums. So when he popped through St. Louis, we went to get some barbecue, and um, he's in Arizona right now. And he went to a diner this morning, and he just looked up, and there at a table, just having with his wife and two kids breakfast was Mike Trout. And so he snapped a picture with his phone, said, I let them be. Kathy had to bring me something, and then Bing Bong decided he would sneak in. I can't
oh yeah, he's sly.
put a lock on the door, not like a big lock, but a latch on the door so Bing Bong can't get in here. So I do two podcasts from this basement, and he interrupts both of them. So, uh, are we on the Cardinal news yet?
No, I had one last thing. I always ask you an either or question. And my question for your either or is I've never really understood Joe Madden. I thought he was such a good coach. And I think I know, but they finally won the World Series, and it was only a couple years later he was gone. And you think the team would be where they're at right now if Joe Madden had stayed, or was it had it run its course? Because he's different. He's a different guy. I don't know if that's. I know he was in Tampa Bay for a long time, but what happened to Joe Madden? And do you think the other side of it is Craig Counsell? Do you think he's the perfect guy right now that's really working? I Vince, as a fan, I think he's just building a bigger, stronger team every year. They seem to get a little more depth, and they're really building for a good run at it now.
Okay. Joe Madden is not the strategist that Counsell is, and
Okay.
Counsell doesn't have the personality of Joe Madden. Uh, Joe Madden was a great leader, and Joe Madden knows people. And when he was unshackled, he did a great job with that team. Now, after the 2017 season, ownership started saying, okay, we're going to start putting some reins on you. And then he got unhappy. And you just, yeah, he was fine when he was doing the petting zoos and all the fun stuff. But when I guess they thought that that had run its course and they put shackles on how he would manage, he just wasn't the same. Um, he got a lot of criticism for pulling Kyle Hendricks in the fifth inning of Game 7 of the World Series. And then they brought in Lester, and Lester had that wild pitch and a couple runs scored. And at that point, Kyle Hendricks was cruising. So he got a lot of flack for that. But the way he said it, that was always the plan for Hendricks to pitch so many pitches and then bring in Lester. Um, but anyway, he got a lot of flack for that. Council, on the other hand, doesn't have a whole lot of personality. I mean, he really is about the most boring manager. There's nothing he says that's funny, whimsical, insightful, or anything. He's very close to the vest. He's almost like Bill Belichick. That's who I would compare him to. But he is a much better strategist and a much better evaluator of talent. The criticism I had um, with Council is his first year, he managed like he had no idea who these players were. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why he put Trey Mancini at first base when he couldn't play first base, or he put, oh, what's his name? Max and I always called him Rat Boy. Uh, Guy in right field who was an infielder. And he's, I think it was very first game of the season. He had a ball hit to him, made an error, and Cubs lost. Um, that's my criticism. It seemed like the first year he got there, he had no idea who these players were, what they did for a living. But last year he managed completely different. He had a good handle on the team. So either or, it depends on what I think the team needs. If I think a team would need someone who would come in there with a lot of personality, um, you know, Joe Madden's your man. If you think you have a talented team, a veteran team like we have now, then you bring in Craig Counsell, who doesn't have to do all the personality stuff because these are seasoned professionals now. I don't think Counsell would have won the World Series with that Cub team because they were so young. Um, that I mean, Rizzo wasn't even 30, and he was like the old man of the group. And at second base, you had Baez most of the time, who was a young guy. You had Addison Russell at short, young guy. Bryant, young guy. Um, he did have Fowler and oh, what's his name? Uh, Haywood and Rice. So he had some veterans in the outfield, but basically it's a pretty young team. So I think Madden was good with that young team. I don't think Council would have won the World Series for that because I think Council would have maybe gotten the kids a little uptight, and that's one of the reasons why I think the Cubs won. They were so young; they didn't know how big of a deal it was for the Cubs to win a World Series until that happened, and 5 million people show up. That, well, I guess it's a pretty big deal here. So
I like both of them, and you're right; they're completely different. Whitey Herzog reminds me of Madden, and I think the game's so much better with guys like that in the game, man. But it's not the same as it used to be. Used to manager was the final word, and now you got so many people got their fingers in it and stuff like that. Just a, it's just different. It's just different.
yeah,
That's all. Well, that's it for me. Can I go? I'm going to go into Cardinal news. Is that all right, Vince?
you go into Cardinal news.
Cardinal news, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot of news this week. First of all, the St. Louis Hall of Fame. They always have four guys, and you can vote for one. I mean, you go online, you vote every day, and they put one or two of those guys in. And then there's like a special one that the DeWitt's put in, or it was it might have been like a manager or a scout or something like that. Well, this year, listen to this. This is, and they're going to put two of them in. And Vince, I'm going to let you try to pick which two probably are going to go in. You got Brian Jordan. Hey, I love Brian Jordan. Heck of a player. You got Silent George Hendrick. Great nickname, by the way. And then you got the other two guys, Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols. And, that place, which two you think's going in, Vince? Who's the odds on? Oh,
Only two of those go in.
yeah, just two this time.
Ah,
Yeah.
you want to know what I really think would be right?
What's that?
You put Pujols or Yachty in this time, and then put George Hendrick in.
Oh, I love George. George will be
And
in
actually
eventually.
put the other one in.
Yeah,
George
I think
Hendrick's got to be old.
it'll be. You're yeah, yeah. I haven't. You know, he's only come back. There was an anniversary. He came back, and you know, he's Silent George, and they were going through each decade, and the '80s Cardinals were there, and George got to the podium and said, "Roll the film." That's all he said was "roll the film," and they showed the highlights of that. So that was pretty cool. But I think it's almost going to be one of those things where Yachty, they're best friends, and that place will be rocking. They'll that place will be packed for the induction, and a lot of people will come back for that. That's how I kind of see it too, Vince. Is those two guys, but George Hendrick will get in eventually, hopefully next year, something like that. There's Steve Carlton still hasn't got in. My goodness, Steve Carlton, I love him. So
Now,
anyway,
didn't George, was it the summer of '79 that he was traded from the Padres to the Cardinals
that sounds about
and,
right. Yeah,
and just ripped it up after the trade and just was because the rumor was he was moody and he wasn't a team player and he doesn't talk. He kind of had this terrible reputation, and then he came over to the Cardinals. I remember for the rest of that season because he came in halfway through the season, and it seemed like every other night he was doing something great, driving in a big run, hitting a home run or something. I thought, my gosh, I like this player, and I'd never heard anything good about him. And I thought his whole tenure in St. Louis, because he played there for 6, 7 years, won a World Series, he was just steady. He didn't rock the boat, and he just went out there and produced. And
professional.
um, he was he was not liked in any city he played in except St. Louis. So I would love to see George Hendrick
Oh, me too.
make it.
Now we get St. Louis. St. Louis gets a lot of flack for being our media soft. We're not like Boston and New York or I don't know, some of these other places where they're just, I mean, it's like, man, they really just, if you go in a slump, they're all over you. You know, St. Louis media doesn't seem to be like that, is what I feel. So, but maybe it was just a lot of pressure off of him and just play. And maybe that had something to do with it. Plus, playing for Whitey. And I think, I think he played for Whitey and maybe Kenny Boyer was at the end of Kenny Boyer's time here.
I think
And
he came in at the end of Kenny Boyer's
Rain,
tenure, and then he played for Whitey the rest of the time.
yeah. Whitey's
See,
like Madden. He's a player's coach, you know.
oh yeah, he. I'll take George Hendrick.
Oh,
I'll let
yeah,
him
I
be
think it
George
must be.
Hendrick. That's fine. You don't want to talk to the press. That's fine. Just go out in right field and do your thing.
Oh, yeah.
And
He actually played center field one year. I know there was a year where we were short on a center fielder and he moved over to center and did a nice job. He did a nice job for him.
hmm,
Yeah. Well, so that's that. And then Oliver Marmol, the news came out. This was the last year on this contract. Well, they signed him to 2-year extension and a 1-year option. Now, I think he's been with the Cardinals for 20 years. I think with what he's had, he's done a good job. The young players like him. At his press conference, a lot of them showed up for it. Lance Lynn was on a podcast and said, when you have a lame duck manager, it does affect the team. Players like stability. So if that's the fact, and to be honest with you, our team is rebuilding, and it's probably hard to get a big name manager to come in. And Ollie's done a good job. He knows the guys. And let's see what he can do in these 2 years. And I think Chaim Bloom and him have a very good relationship. Apparently, whatever the vision that Chaim has, Ollie also has. So we'll see what happens. And they can sign managers to all the years they want, and they still get fired. So it's nice that he has some stability. He's got money now coming for sure, and he's going to be our coach for this year. I think till 2028. So that's pretty cool.
so we can
Um,
stop hearing these rumors that Yachty is going to manage in 2028.
yes, and Yachty. To be honest, I think I'd like to see Yachty. They're taking Yachty. He's going to be working in the front office, and usually that's what they do. If you go to another team and you know, potentially you could be somebody, might be a manager. You learn all the aspects of the team and the office, the front office, the scouting, all that, which I think will be great. And if he ever does become manager, he'll be better prepared for it in the long run and working with everybody and things like that. Let's see. What am I gonna? Oh, Lars Newbar is probably not going to be ready for opening day. There was hope he would be there, and there's about 5 guys who are potential players to play in left field. I've heard so many different names. And Ollie said he'd like a thumper who's a right-handed hitter. We're pretty heavy left-handed hitters. Well, we have Nelson Vasquez, I believe is how you say his name. He's got some pop, and he plays the outfield. Nathan Church from Memphis is probably the best defender out there, but he's a left-hander. But he did hit 329 last year with 16 stolen bases, and he's a great fielder. He's actually a center fielder. I'm okay. Hey, I figure a center fielder can learn left field. I think we'd be a better team if Church was out there. So JC plays everywhere. He's on Team Italy right now, and I really think he was one of like a small piece of why Brendan Donovan was available. Edmund and Donovan did the same job, and then Edmund left. You had Donovan, and I think so JC. I just see him being an outstanding player. Not as good as Donovan right now, but I think he could be one day. Jose Fermin, who is a right-hander, and he plays everywhere you ask him to. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife guy too. And a guy named Brian Torres. But he's a good defender, but he's 5'7". He's 28 years old, and he just doesn't have a lot of pop to his bat. But he will he's a gritty player. And so those 5 guys will be battling for that left field spot. And they're expecting Lars to be back sometime early May, hopefully, fingers crossed. And the team is very excited about this catcher. Vince, we have 5 catchers in our top 30 prospects, plus Hodges, Pozo, Herrera are up on the team as well. And it looks like Crooks is going to be on the team this year. So you can't keep 4 catchers. I say they're probably going to keep 3. Herrera is going to try to catch, but Vince, he hasn't looked very good in spring training so far, but he's got an outstanding bat. But we have this 18-year-old kid. He's 19 now, Renel Rodriguez. And this kid, they nicknamed him the Hulk. He's our number 3 prospect in the minors. Now, he's young. There has been a few catchers come up when they're 19 and play some. I would like to see him stay down there. He's only in high A right now. But one of the things he did last year, he had a historical year in the minors. There is a stat, and Vince, this is tough for me to even say. It's he was 50% above league average on runs created plus, which is phenomenal. And at the age of 18, there's only been 8 guys that kept this stat since 2006. There's only 8 guys that's done this at the age of 18, come up in the minors and just dominated. And that was Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, Fernando Tatis Jr., Freddie Freeman, Giancarlo Stanton, Wandy Franco, and this catcher, Samuel Basello from the catchers. He's only from the Orioles. He's a catcher, and he's still only 21 years old. That's good company to be in. Doesn't mean he's going to be a star. Vince, this kid, as far as hitting, I think he's ready now. He needs to work on blocking, and I don't know with the ABS. I don't know if it's framing is as important as it once was, but he's got a good arm, and we've got so many catchers. Maybe we'll make some decisions, and some of these guys can be trade pieces for things we need here in a couple of years. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with, I heard the story that PCA was on this baseball team 12 and under. I don't know if you've heard the story, but he was a pitcher.
Yeah.
I didn't know PCA was a pitcher. And he pitched a combined no-hitter. And he pitched most of the game, but when he started getting a little tired, they brought in Mason Wynn. So PCA and Mason Wynn pitched a combined no-hitter, and they're both under 12 years old. I don't know what team this was, but can you imagine? You're 12 years old, and there's PCA and Mason Wynn on the other side. Their catcher. Would you know who they pitched to?
Yes, because I've heard the story.
Oh, you heard Paul Skeens. PCA, Mason Wynn, and Paul Skeens. And these guys are going to be a big face of baseball in the years to come. And they're dynamic superstars. But if I was 12 years old, Vince, and I had to go over there and like, who are these guys? Man, well, they're all future Major League Baseball players for sure. And the Cardinals are off today, and we don't have another day off till opening day. Opening days, we're playing all the rest of the way through to opening day. So that's it for Cardinal news. And I tell you what, Vince, it's building. It's building.
Not a whole lot going on with the Cubs. There's been some players that have not shined in uh, spring training. Jamison Tyone has been hit very hard, especially by left-handers. Um, PCA's only got one spring training hit. Um, but we do have a guy who is 7 for 13. He's fighting for a roster spot. He also has 5 walks this spring. Can you guess who this is?
Is that kid you guys call the Jaguar? Is
Nope.
that?
Nope. You're familiar with this guy.
Oh, trying to think of. He's probably not one of the 8 regular guys I'm thinking of. Carson, is it Carson Kelly?
Nope.
No.
No,
All
this
right.
guy's definitely fighting for a roster spot.
Okay.
Used to be a Cardinal.
Used to be a Cardinal. Dylan Carlson?
Dylan Carlson, seven
Whoa.
for 13, 2 doubles, 5 walks. He's tearing it up. So,
I
uh,
pull for him. I pull for him. I wish it happened here, but he's been around the league a little bit now. I hope he makes your team and makes you proud.
well, we just signed Michael Conforto, so he's going to be on the team whether we want him or not. So, especially now that the guy that we got from Japan, our backup first baseman's hurt, so Conforto could play a little bit of first, backup Bush, and play some outfield. But if we carry, and also know that Matt Shaw can play is working on playing the outfield too. So it's a possibility that we are going to hit now. Shaw can play every position on the infield except for first too. So it's a situation where we could have um, uh, 5 outfielders. We could have um, PCA, Hap, Saya, who will do a lot of DHing, Carlson, and Conforto. And that would make Kevin Alcantara, the Jaguar, go back to AAA. I don't think they're going to get rid of him because Hap and Saya are both going to be free agents after the year.
Okay.
So we'll see. But anyway, Dylan Carlson's really tearing it up. It's going to be interesting to see who makes this Cub team. We claimed off waivers from the Blue Jays, Ben Cowles, infielder. And this is significant because this is the third run he has had in our organization. So we just keep bringing him back for some reason. But I've saved the best news for last.
Oh.
This is really the end of Cub news. Justin Steele had a bullpen session on Friday, and he's been cleared to resume all baseball activities. So we were looking at him maybe being back by June. Boy, that may be the first, second week of May if, he goes down there and ramps himself up. So I'm very excited about that. Um, People do not realize how good Justin Steele is because he got hurt so early last year that he missed the whole year basically. The year before that, he had that long stint on the disabled list because that opening game against the Rangers, he pulled a hamstring and it took a long time for that to heal. The year before that, he was, I think, second or third in the Cy Young. But his lifetime ERA is like 3.1. He stacks up with the best of the best. So I'm very excited that he's going to uh, play long, play a bigger part of the season than what we thought. So that's
Okay.
all there is in Cub news. A lot of Cubs, 8 Cubs are going their separate ways with World Baseball. Uh, team. So awesome.
Yes.
Last week, we looked at the Cincinnati Reds, 5 players that we really favored. This week, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh yeah.
Arg. Hey, JJ, do you
Hang
know what
on.
a pirate's favorite letter is?
A
Arg.
R. Oh, R. Yes. I'm an idiot. Yes, R, of course.
Uh, Pirate walks into a bar and he's got a steering wheel sticking out of his zipper. And the bartender says, "Hey, Mr. Pirate, you've got a steering wheel sticking out of your zipper." And he says, "Arg, and it's driving me nuts."
Yes. That's a 10 right there. Very good. You
Uh,
all will be saying that at, well, with Sunday school or work tomorrow.
oh, so I started last week. You start this week. Let's go through our favorite Pittsburgh Pirate players that we have seen play.
Now, last week, our good friend Kevin Lee I wrote my favorite infielder because we included catchers with infielders, DHs with the outfielders. You got your starting pitchers, your relievers, and a coach. Because everybody's was saying, "Hey, what's your Mount Rushmore?" Well, we're doing these columns, these 5 columns of our favorite players, and we're only going to go back to 1975 because that's about when me and Vince started watching baseball. So 51 years of baseball, and in this case, it's Pirate baseball. And Vince, my favorite infielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates through 51 years, and I did some show prep. I got cards for each of them. Is the one and only Tony Pena. Look at him, Tony Pena, right there. I love Tony Pena. Tony Pena, to me, there was Benito Santiago and Tony Pena, and they almost laid down. They had a leg out. It wasn't traditional catching. They could throw you out stealing from their butt. He would sit on his butt and he could throw down a second and nail you. Blocking, phenomenal. Tony was a good hitter too. He played 7 years in Pittsburgh. He had a 22.4 WAR. He had 821 hits, 65 home runs, 340 RBIs, 42 stolen bases for a catcher. That's fantastic. And he hit 286. Tony could get on base. He made the All-Star team. And I remember the night Tony Pena became a St. Louis Cardinal. My friend Larry, my college roommate, this is before I went to college, he worked evenings. He came home and I was hiding in the bushes. When he got out, I said, and I was just shaking him and, going crazy. And he said, "You just attacked me," and yelling, "Tony Pena's a Cardinal." And he remembers that to this day. And Tony Pena, I just absolutely love this guy. Nice career. His best years were with Pittsburgh, but that's my favorite infielder for Pittsburgh. Right there, Don Frizzy, Tony Pena.
I'm taking the easy way out. My favorite infielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates in my lifetime is Pops Willie Stargell. Class
That's a great one.
guy, saw him at the end of his career, and when he was a 38-year-old man, he won an MVP in 1979, co-MVP with Keith Hernandez, and he led that Pittsburgh team to a World Series, their last World Series championship, 1979. But I always thought Willie was a classy guy, and he had one of the best uh, batting stances. He would do the windmill, and then he'd pump it around a few times, and he'd kind of move his legs a little bit like he was just getting ready to attack the ball like it was a cheeseburger. So I loved Willie Stargell. My friend growing up, John, he was a huge Willie Stargell fan. That was his favorite player. Really cool. About 10 years ago, I'm in Walmart and I see this guy about 6'4", big guy in great shape, and he had a Willie Stargell jersey on. And I mean, I don't walk into it, I have to walk into it. That is an awesome jersey.
That is an awesome jersey.
My runner up is Scrap Iron Phil Garner. Uh,
Love him.
just a tough, hard nosed player, Phil Garner. He's my runner up. So that's my infield, Willie
Well,
Stargell.
Vince, I think of it, Willie Stargell. I think of these stars. he used to hand as captain of the team and a first baseman. When you did something phenomenal, he'd give out a star. So all the players back then in the '70s had those stars on their hat like this. As a matter of fact, these pill hats, they
Yep.
pillbox hats. All right, now we move to the outfield. And Vince, I got a feeling we may agree on the same guy here. In the '70s, Pittsburgh was known as Championship City. You had the Steelers. I don't know if the Penguins were winning championships in the '70s, probably '80s for them. And you had the Pirates were great throughout the whole '70s, but they had a right fielder, Vince, and he had a great nickname, the Cobra. And I'm talking Dave Parker right there. I mean, I think when he warmed up, is that a bat in his hand? Yeah, he'd have a sludge hammer. He'd have a sludge hammer. He'd be working as getting ready to bat. And Dave Parker was must see TV. Dave Parker could hit. I mean, good hitter, and he had power, and he was a had an arm, a legendary arm. And a lot of people go back to that All-Star game where he nailed a guy at third and at home, and he was the MVP of that All-Star game. I'll just go over a few stats. He played 11 years with Pittsburgh. He's a Hall of Famer and MVP. He's in the MVP of nicknames too, the Cobra, and he was the All-Star game MVP, the one I mentioned where he threw the two guys out. So Dave just went in the Hall of Fame, and I'm glad he did. He deserved it, and he was one of those guys I paid money to go see him play. So Dave Parker's my outfielder.
Dave Parker was my runner-up.
Oh, okay.
My outfielder is one of my all-time favorite players who's still playing, Andrew McCutchen. I MVP. He played in Pittsburgh through those really good teams of the mid 2000 teens when he won his MVP. And then he went to Philadelphia, and I think he went to New York. Go to Houston, I don't know. But anyway, bounced around a little bit. Then he's been back there the last few years, and now he's searching for a team. But he's just a class human being. He does a lot of charitable work, and he is perpetually in a happy, positive mood, which I really like. He's not like me. Um, uh, and he was a bona fide five-tool player, big smile. When he had the dreads, he just looked like $1 million out there running after fly balls and everything, happy, and you know, brought Pittsburgh to prominence. And so I've always really liked Andrew McCutchen. So that's my outfielder.
All right. My pitcher. And Pirates have had a lot of pitching, a lot of good pitchers. I could go on and on about all of them. This was kind of tough. I had a couple of pitchers, but then Vince, I'm going with the one and only Paul Skeens. Now, he's only played in the league 2 years, but Vince, to me, there hasn't been a lot of pitchers like this. Doc Gooden, Tom Seaver, Kershaw, Maddox, Clemens. There's just a few that have just been so dominant. He's must see. He throws a lot of different pitches. Four, I know for sure that he'll throw at any time. And he played at Air Force, and then went to LSU, won a championship. He actually was a catcher. They turned him into a pitcher. And his ERA, just in a short career, 23 years old, 2 years, both with the Pirates, 13.5 WAR, 2 seasons, Vince, 21 and 13. And if the darn team could score 3 runs for him, he might be unbeaten. ERA 1.96. That doesn't seem possible, but I swear it is. And 386 strikeouts and a whip below 1. What more can you say? I'm excited. He's pitched for the World Baseball Classic. And I'm going to Toronto this year, and the team I'm going to see him play is Pittsburgh. And I so want to see, my dream is to see Scherzer versus Skeens. Now that is a heavyweight championship match right there. So my pitcher, the one and only Mr. Paul Skeens.
I'm going with another pitcher who is a contemporary pitcher, but not with the Pirates anymore. I'm going with Garrett Cole. Um, I wish the Pirates would have been able to hold on to him. Um, but he pitched his butt off for Pittsburgh when they were winning divisions and wild cards. And Garrett Cole, I love his intensity on the mound. He's not just a thrower, he's a pitcher. He's cerebral, and he just seems to get better with age. When he first came up with Pittsburgh, he was more of a thrower and got by on just talent. Now that, yeah, I shouldn't say his skills have diminished, they've barely diminished, but now he's more of a pitcher, and he leads that New York staff when he's healthy. So I really like Garrett Cole. I think he's my favorite Pirate pitcher ever, that I've seen in my lifetime. But number two is a guy that I featured on uh, Facebook this week, John Candelaria. Love the
Candy,
Candyman.
Candy Man. Yeah. Well, Vince, you mentioned this pitcher just last week. We're now to our relief pitcher. And I think you may have mentioned him about his slender, very slender pitcher. If he turns sideways, you may not see him. But I have a great card of him right here, the one and only Kent Tekulve. And that's odd. 2 weeks in a row we have mentioned Kent Tekulve. And there's something doing. I love researching. I love numbers. I'm such a nerd. I just like looking at baseball and the numbers, this, the history of the game. Kent Tekulve play. Okay, so he was a submarine pitcher, and just very unorthodox. And if you've ever tried to hit a submarine pitcher, it's odd. The ball's kind of coming up on you, or comes up and then fades away. It's just a very unusual. And he was very successful. Um, he played 12 years with the Pirates. I thought he was on the team forever, but the thing, Vince, I didn't realize he didn't come up to the pros until he was 27 years old. So he pitched 16 years. So he pitched from 27 to 42, and 12 of those, 74 to 85, was with the Pirates. Um, Phenomenal. I just love this guy. The Pirates were good most of the years he was there, and he racked up a lot of saves. And to me, it was just, oh, Tekulve's in the game. They must be leading by a run in the eighth inning, and here comes Tekulve. So I'm gonna show his picture one more time. Kent Tekulve right there, getting ready to throw the submarine pitch.
Okay, my relief pitcher is Kent Tekulve. um, that Pirate bullpen, they had Grant Jackson, Kent
Oh yeah,
Tekulve, and Enrique Romo. And what Chuck Tanner could do is, if he had a man on base, Tekulve, get the ground ball, try to get the double play. You had a contact hitter up there with nobody on base, Grant Jackson, because he's probably going to get them to pop out. You need the strikeout, you bring in Romo. He had this three-headed monster closing out games, and they were very effective. And he didn't really have a closer per se. He would just interchange them from the seventh inning on, depending on what the situation called for. But I liked Colby because he didn't throw hard, and he threw a fastball that sunk. So basically, he threw a sinker, and it wasn't really fast. So I'll call it a sinker. Um, from that arm angle, he would also throw a slider, which was it was a little more funky. But his best pitch was his palm ball because it looked like the other pitches. But when your fastball or your sinker is going about 84, and all of a sudden here comes this the same pitch, but it's going at 74, you're going to hit a weak ground ball, and that's what he was really good at. And I just like the way he approached baseball, and he obviously loved the sport, stuck around for a long time. My runner-up, a guy who closed for those '90s Pirates teams that made the playoffs, Stan Belinda, doesn't get enough love. Only had
right.
a few really good years, but he did pitch at the back end of the bullpen when the team won a couple of division titles. So that's my runner-up.
Oh yeah. Well, for manager, for me, there was two very successful managers there in my time watching baseball. But I have to go with the one and only Jim Leland. And I found a manager card, Vince. Look at that. Jim Leland's manager card. And I love Jim Leland. Jim Leland, spent a lot of time in the minors, worked his way up. I think I remember him saying he got his first manager job or baseball up in the pros, LaRussa, him and LaRussa were very close. And I think when LaRussa was with the White Sox, Leland was on staff with him there. And man, I tell you what, he's just one of those guys, old timer. He's got that rough voice, a very thin man. You'd sometimes catch him in the dugout smoking a cigarette, watching the game, very involved. One of the moments I remember most with Leland, he always put together a good team, and they were successful in the Leland years. Leland, 11 years with the Pirates. He's a Hall of Famer. He's been ejected 33 times, and I think it was more of a strategy at the time. All right, I need to get thrown. Sometimes managers do that, either to stand up for a player or like, wait a minute, we're not taking this anymore, and goes out there. He got ejected. 11 years with the Pirates, 851 wins, 863 losses. He spent time with Florida, the Rockies, and the Tigers. He won a World Series and he won 3 pennants. And I just think he's one of the class guys in baseball history. Very good manager. And I'm going to let you talk more. I'll probably talk too much because Leland may have made either honorable mentions or your number one too.
Okay, there are 4 managers that I think were excellent in Pittsburgh, so this was hard. Uh, um, what's his name?
Chuck?
Murtaugh.
Oh, yeah, Danny Murtaugh.
When I first started watching, he was the manager. Then Chuck Tanner, I thought he was really good manager. Um, I thought that Clint Hurdle was an excellent manager too. And then there's Leland. So I chose, guess which one I chose?
Leland.
No,
Tanner?
Tanner. I chose Chuck Tanner's, probably because when I was a kid, I just thought he was the greatest manager in baseball because 79, well, his teams in Pittsburgh, they were always in the mix. And then in 79, he won the World Series with them, and he was kind of a low-key guy, and he was a very practical manager. But what I remember about Tanner is he had spiral notebooks, and this was before the age of computers, but he kept records of every pitcher versus every hitter in the league in those notebooks. And before a game, he would go over the notebooks to figure out what the lineup would be. And then during the game, if like they brought in a pitcher who's going to pitch it, you'd see him opening up a notebook and okay, Sanguian go in and hit. Um, so he was a little ahead of his time in doing stuff like that. Um, my runner up is actually Clint Hurdle. Um, I Clint Hurdle was an interesting guy. He was the number one prospect in baseball for the Royals. And then when he was called up, young, dark haired, good looking guy, and never could put it together and just had kind of a flop for a baseball career. And then he came back as a manager as a pregnant middle aged man. And he he had fire as a manager. I never saw him as a player have because I watched a lot of Royals games because that was my American League team, and I just thought, oh, there's that fourth outfield that didn't do too well. And then he shows up this rough, angry person managing the Pirates, and so I really liked him, and I love the theater. In 2015, when the Cubs were playing the Pirates in the winter 1-game playoff or wild card thing, and they had Garrett Cole going, and uh, Hurdle was yeah, we got Garrett Cole, yeah, he's best young pitcher, and then that made all their fans are getting on social media, yeah, we're gonna win, and then Jake Arrieta just texts back, you don't have to worry about it. I will beat you tomorrow, and then he went out and shut out the Pirates.
Oh,
I just
man.
like the brashness of Clint Hurdle, and he did a great job with those teams that had that their last playoff run. So that's
Oh, fantastic. Well, let us know if you agree with us. Who is your favorite at each section of that team through the years? And I'd like to hear and see what everybody thinks.
Okay. JJ, I got the second of three from this pack that
Oh
had
yeah.
a ton of cards in it. So I'm just pulling out this many. Look,
Oh, sounds good. I
it's
have the
Kent Jacoby.
there he is. I see some glasses.
There it is. And there he is.
I have Donruss Series 1, and I'm not sure what year this is, but the puzzle is Willie Stargell. Speaking of Willie Stargell, he is the puzzle in this
There you
pack right
go.
here. So Vince, why don't you go first since you already got your pack open?
Okay. I'm going to say we're both going to have one Hall of Famer.
Okay, I'll go two Hall of Famer. We'll both have two Hall of Fame.
Okay. Uh, Outfielder who was really good for about 5 or 6 years for the Red Sox, Ellis Burks.
Oh
And he went on to the
yeah.
Twins.
Yeah. Played with the Rockies.
Yeah, had some success. Oh, this is the son that Cowboy Bob Orton never talks about. He talks about his son Randy, talks
Yeah.
about his other son Nathan the comedian, but he never talks about John Orton.
No, no, it never mentions him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor John.
Speaking of Pirates, I did think of this guy as possibly one of my players.
Okay.
Um, Former National League All Star, former Cy Young winner, Doug Drabeck.
Oh, yes. Yes. He was their ace for a few years there.
For the Indians, really good. Had some good seasons. 24, 33, 26 home runs. Made the cover of Sports Illustrated. Corey Snyder.
Remember Corey Schneider? Nice career.
Uh, the Rangers had an Italian pitcher named Scott Ciampartino.
Wow.
That's the
I'm
first
glad
time I've
you
ever
had to
seen
say that
her.
name. I never get that name out.
You don't know if I said it right. I just
It sounded good. If
C
it was on a
H
menu, I'd order it.
Chiamparino. So,
Very good. That's close enough.
oh, ooh, man. Don't boo this guy. He'll flip you off. Gary Templeton.
Oh yeah. I met him at a card show and he was so nice. I didn't bring that up. Just talked about how good he looked and I appreciated all of his time here. But some of the Padres, that's one of their favorite teammates. He went out there and had a nice career. Very good here in St. Louis.
He was young in St. Louis,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I don't hold it against them. I bet the fans drive you. There's always you could have 99 great fans, and there's that one guy that's talking about a family member or something. You'd lose your
yeah.
mind.
For the Reds, former Rookie of the Year, last rookie pitcher to win 20 games, to my recollection. But what I really love about him is during a game in his Reds uniform, he walked across the street and sat in the rooftops. Tom Browning.
Yes, that's a classic.
No, people say, "Well, that was stupid." He probably didn't think you'd get caught. No, he knew every game on
Yo,
WGM was telecast. He
as soon as
just,
you see him setting up there, they put a camera on him.
oh,
Yeah.
that was cool. Um, oh, former Cardinal pitcher who just was one of the worst luck Cardinal pitchers in history, Jose De Leon.
I agree. That guy was a good pitcher too. We just let him down.
Oh, in
He was a
19,
pirate. He was a pirate too. Jose De Leon was a pirate.
yeah, 7 and 19 one year. Uh, Gosh, he pitched for some bad teams,
Yeah.
late 80s. But yeah. Uh, we have 1990 record breaker, and appears that this guy is a Hall of Famer. Uh, Mr. Cal Ripken Jr.
Yeah. Super player.
Oh, former left-handed pitcher for the Angels. I think he had a stint with the Yankees, and he also played for the Brewers in the '82 World Series. Bob McClure.
Oh, Bob McClure. Yes, I remember that guy well.
Oh, for the Expos. I think it's funny. It's for the Expos, but he's got a shirt that says Caveman, shortstop Shane Andrews. I guess he was playing for a minor league team called the Cavemen at the time, and he was a rookie. So it's kind of cool. Oh,
Yeah.
another Cardinal tops rookie team. Right fielder, pretty good player, Felix Jose.
Oh yeah, man, he was built athlete, big, like a Jordan Walker kind of
Yeah.
player.
One Hall of Famer. Let's
Very
see what
good,
you
Vince.
got.
Well, Vince, I was going to show these first. Tops is celebrating their 75th year, and I went down to a boys' dream hobby shop, and they said there's a lot of people been opening up like autographs and things. Ella De La Cruz, somebody got Ella De La Cruz. They're putting a lot of older cards in the packs too. So I said, well, give me a box of those. So I bought some, and I got one autograph. Now, this is the autograph card. It's the guy who's going to be the fifth starter for the Guardians, Parker Masick, and there is his autograph on his card right there.
Nice.
And on the back, it says Baseball Stars autograph card. So they're putting almost every player, you know, of course, you want to get the Otani or the Harper or the PCA, but this card here is his regular card for the set, and then this is his autograph card. So now I'm a fan of him, and I hope he wins 20 games this year. I'll be watching him. So this is my Donruss set. Let me open this bad boy. It's got the Willie Stargell. Speaking of Willie Stargell, we just mentioned him, and there is part of the puzzle for the thing, and there, Willie Starr.
Willie Starr.
That's right. Oh, already we're starting out good. Vince said one Hall of Famer. I'm saying two. This is not a Hall of Famer, but I always like Kent Herbeck, Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, loved Kent.
Power, good player. Looked like he loved to play. Philadelphia Philly, Dickie Thon.
Yeah, we just mentioned him.
Yeah, he played with the Astros too. I remember him early in his career with the Astros. Oh, Hall of Famer. We got one on the board right here. The one and only Paul Molitor.
There we go.
I went to 82 World Series game one. Molitor had 5 hits. Oh, Molitor. And this guy started out with the Mets, but eventually became a Cardinal. But here he is with the Mets, Greg Jeffries.
So maligned.
Yes, they had 3 really good young players. Magadan, Jeffries, and there was a third player too. They had 3 that came up at the same time. They all made the team and supposed to be the next core group. Here's a guy I know you've loved, you've mentioned many times. Kansas City Royal, Kevin Seitzer.
Oh, Kevin, yeah.
A very nice player too. He was a very, very good player. Oh, this guy bounced around a lot. Expo, Rocky, played for the Cardinals. Andres Galarraga. There he is. Very good fielder. He was a part of that. Oh, that cat. You're right. The cat. There's been a lot of cats in baseball. That nickname bounces around some. Oh, I love this guy from St. Louis, played for the Cardinals, Bernard Gilkey, and he actually was in a movie. He was in the first Men in Black movie. The alien flew over Shea Stadium, and he was in the outfield. And he just looked up and went, oh, you know, just opened his mouth. Academy Award. He got robbed of the Academy Award right there. Our second Hall of Famer, the one, the only, the shortstop from the best team I've seen in my lifetime, the 84 Tigers, Alan Trammell.
No, great player. What's your second Hall of Famer?
Yeah, second Hall of Famer. Oh, this guy could block a plate like nobody's business. He couldn't do that in today's game. He'd have to leave a little lane for people. Mike Scioscia.
Yeah.
And I think he's blocking the plate too, right there in that card. He's blocking it.
That's what he did.
Cleveland Indian John Farrell.
There's
John Farrell. A guy who had a nice career. Here he is with the Astros, Franklin Stubbs.
Yeah.
I don't care for those particular Astro uniforms they're wearing right there. Okay, this is Diamond Kings where they draw the pictures. Hall of Famer, one of the all-time greats, Barry Larkin, right there. Yes, Barry Larkin. This guy had a small career, but man, during his playing days, he was phenomenal. The one and only Bobby Thigpen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Overpitched him, hurt his arm.
Yeah. I think he had over 50 saves one year.
Yeah, 57 one year, yeah.
Oh, my God. 57 saves. Most people don't have 57 appearances. All right. Cincinnati Red. He was my favorite outfielder. Not a Hall of Famer, but a Hall of very, very good. Eric Davis. Right there. Probably hitting a home run. And finally, the last pitcher, the last card I have of this set, Everybody's favorite, threw a no hitter. It happened to be with the Yankees, but here he is early in his career with the California Angels, Jim Abbott. There he is, Jim Abbott.
Yeah.
Played for Michigan. So that's it for my cards right there. Two Hall of Famers and some great memories. Vince, a lot of these guys I haven't thought about in a while. It's good to kind of relive some of their career and look at their pictures and everything.
Yeah. Well, make sure that you look at that World Baseball Classic schedule that we have on One Cardinal, One Cup, One Beer Facebook page. Follow the team you want to follow or the teams. Remember the USA is playing predominantly, maybe exclusively on Fox. So if you don't have FS1 or FS2, no sweat. You don't have to watch the Netherlands play Italy. You don't. So, um, but anyway, JJ, you
Yes, sir.
have a good week.
You too,
When
sir.
we actually get here next week, we can talk about baseball games. That'd be so
Oh.
cool. So, all right, we'll see you all next week. Thank you for joining us.